What's going on, everybody? Listen, welcome back. You are now tapped in, tuned in live to the very first episode of The Debrief. What is The Debrief, you ask? Well, The Debrief is my car ride home when I get off of work, and I'm just going to come on here and I'm going to complain about my shift. I'm going to complain about all the shit that I had to go through during my shift. It's like, no, listen, if you in the medical field, you know, after a cold, you know, there's a debrief where we talk about what we could have done different, what we could have done better, how anybody feels, if anybody wants to express themselves. And that's what I'm going to do right here with y'all, and pretty much, you know, give y'all a quick glimpse into my shift, you know, get it off my chest. And also, during my shifts, I like to listen to a lot of podcasts. I like to watch a lot of YouTube podcasts. I like to watch a lot of different personal development videos. And I figure, you know, I feel like this just could be a great opportunity where I could, you know, give y'all some insight into the content in which I watch, and, you know, pretty much how I watch it and what I take from the content, because it helps me. And I know, as I just talked to y'all and said that I'm, you know, really changing the direction of my channel, I just want to spread the knowledge, spread the information, because if you don't go out there and search for it, a lot of people not giving it to you. So that's pretty much this. Welcome to The Debrief. You know, let me know what you think. Like this video, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and let's get the rolling. So pretty much this was shift 3 out of 4. And had my same patients last night. I was in the ICU, I didn't get floated. But my shift started off a little upsetting. So, background story, I had a patient that has been hospitalized for over a month and a half, going on 2 months. Last week I had this patient, and I didn't think she was gonna make it last week. And I fought tooth and nail, literally on the phone with a doctor, going back and forth, because he doesn't want to come and assess this patient because he's just the on-call physician that answers the phone. The hospitalists didn't want to come down and do the intubation because 9 times out of 10, the hospitalists don't know what they're doing when it comes to intensive care and critical care. No offense to nobody. But I come in last evening, and my patient's intubated. Oh! So when Ty said to intubate the patient, nobody wanted to listen. I mean, I begged and pleaded with the daughter. I begged and pleaded with all the doctors. And at the end of the day, I just had to let my charge nurse know and just be like, listen, I tried my best. Nobody want to listen to me. And they waited a week long. Another thing, we had a patient, young guy who had been on the unit for about a month now, going on a month now. He passed right at shift change. And it's just kind of hard because this guy, you know, his family should have been let him transition and pass on, because he was sitting on that unit, like I said, for a good month and was making no progress. And it was just terrible quality of life. You could tell that he wasn't going to make it out, and we were just prolonging it. Everything started to shut down. He started to get swollen. It was just, you know, that ICU patient. And today, you know, his heart rate had been in the 120s, 130s for about 2-3 weeks. And we slowly watched it dwindle down to 40, to 30, to 20, to 10, until we coded him, and then we called the code. So that was a little, it hit me a little bit, but I'm happy, you know, he's in a better place now. He's not suffering, and his family is no longer holding on to that idea of him coming out. So that was that. But the main focus of the debrief, I want to talk about Earn Your Leisure's 160th episode, where they sit down with Tj the Millionaire Mentor, who is a self-made millionaire who now invests in other entrepreneurs' business and help them scale their business to the next level. I really think this episode was really great because EYL, they have guests that come on that we know, like famous guests, Rick Ross, you know what I'm saying? People that come by and they tell their success story and they tell how they got where they at, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of times I don't like to listen to rappers' story on how they got money, or I don't like to listen to entertainers, because that's a very small percentage. And I feel it as though it is important to see your average everyday millionaire and figure out and listen to them and let them tell you how they got to their wealth, how they built and created their wealth, because they didn't get it overnight from NBA draft, or they ain't make a hit viral song and then just start getting millions. Like, you got to understand, creating generational wealth really takes time. It's going to take some years. Yeah, so I feel it's important to see your average millionaire, your everyday millionaire. You know, the people who we can't tell out on the street. It's millionaires walking past you every day. They just not shining, don't got the jewelry, they ain't driving the nice Benz, some of them are. But they got the regular clothes on, but it takes one to know one, you know what I'm saying? So with this episode, it was so informative because, let me just let y'all know, I like to study rich niggas' moves like it's my homework, you know what I'm saying? I like to study millionaires, and I like to figure out how they think, because a lot of times they think like I think, and it just shows me like this is in God's plan. Like, you different, you special, you know what I'm saying? And that was this episode. So a couple key points that I want to take away from this episode. One, I want you to watch the whole episode because, you know, I love EYL. I love the motivation and the spark that they gave me, especially during the pandemic. But I want y'all to go tap in because I'm sure there's an episode on there that will fit you and that you can relate to, and that will help motivate you and advance you to the next level. The first point, figuring out your ceiling. Figuring out how high you can go in whatever position, whatever career, profession you're in right now. And if you're okay with, you know, hitting that ceiling and being, like I had talked about, being the CRNA, cool. But if becoming a CRNA and the amount of money that CRNAs make, or whatever the top dog is in your profession they make, if you don't have what it takes to obtain that, or you don't see yourself doing what it takes to get that, then you need to leave that job, because that job is not for you. And there's no point in working in a place just to be working there, just for the security of the paycheck. It's time to start training our minds to, you know, trying to find our purpose, trying to find our passion, and trying to find something that we can create and, you know, create a stream of income off of that will support us and that will also make us happy. So once, as he tells about the story when he was in the military, once he figured out as the sergeant general or whatever, he couldn't make, well, he figured out what the top dog made, which was like $160,000, and he figured out that he couldn't do that because of his lack of experience. That's just not how the military is set up. You can't come in as the underdog and then get to the top dog without, you know, war experience, etc. So I thought that was very important because it gives you, one, it deletes all the bullshit of wasting your time, years of wasting your time trying to get somewhere that you can't get.
And get in as an E1 and then become like an officer and become a general. Even if you can switch over and become an officer, you're not going to progress up to become general. Mm-hmm. So once I figured that out, I was mad. I was like, I can't get to the top, you know? Yeah. So what I did is I figured out what the top guy made in the military. And I went out and interviewed and I asked for that salary, right? Which was ridiculous at the time. But I asked for that salary because I still had a job. Mm. And when everybody told me no, I was like, well, what do I need to do to make that kind of money?
Another thing, and this is something that really stuck out to me because I do it myself and it's so important. Asking questions. Asking questions is so important. Why? Because it don't cost you not a dime. It don't cost you nothing to ask questions, and questions only help you find the answer to what you're looking for. The worst thing somebody can say is no. And then when you ask them the question, you ask them, okay, what do I need to get here? What do I need to get a yes for that? You know, figuring out, getting a no or getting the door shut in your face helps you figure out how to get through the next door. So I thought that was a major key within the video. Another key point that I took out was early on in his career, he created a roadmap pretty much. He knew where he was trying to go, but he mapped out what he needed to do at each level, at each point, once he accomplished each goal to get to that next level, to get to the ultimate goal. I thought that was a major key because a lot of times I feel like we just out here moving without intention. We're not moving intentionally. We just out here doing whatever, and we can't really track our progress or know what we need to do better or do more, where we're lacking, so that we can execute and accomplish our goal. So creating a map, figuring out what you want to do, writing everything down is very important.
Yeah, so I think, so I worked for this company and I remember getting passed over for a job. And it didn't make sense when I got passed over because I was so big on gaining skills that I would go to work at, so I had a job where I worked from 3 to 11 at night. So I would go in at 10 in the morning and work from 10 in the morning until 3 in other departments. And I would gain skills in those other departments. And then I would go work in my department, right?
So you're volunteering at the beginning.
Another one was building skills. So one thing that he did that I would say like dang, that's some next level shit. Like, it's gonna take that guy, it's gonna take that next level person to do this. So I know he had worked at a company from 3 to 11, but during his time he wasn't working every day. Pretty much he would work from 10 to 3 volunteering in the company, but in different areas, to build skill and learn new skills that he could then apply to make himself more appealing to get promoted, to get a certain type of job or whatever. He wanted to get to the top, and he was doing what it took and adding the necessary skills, adding the necessary knowledge to get to that level, to get that promotion, which he didn't get, which was another thing. Understanding your value, and when you're not appreciated somewhere, or when simply you don't get rewarded for the hard work that you do, or your hard work is not appreciated, you don't need to be at that place. It's time to go.
We're a government contractor kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a sweatshop. You go, you work all these stupid hours. And then I got a job at, I think, Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or something like that, a really good, solid company where you had sort of a 9 to 5, you go work and, you do your thing. So I went and worked at the sweatshop, and I wanted to compete with those guys. So I worked at the sweatshop, worked all these hours, and as a result of doing that, I learned to be very competitive in this particular tool. And with that, the company went in a different direction with their tools. They got sold to Wang, and I ended up going off and building a company supporting that tool. So
another one was, if you want to be the best, you got to compete. A lot of people out here, we are part of the participation trophy generation time period. If you just ran the race, you ain't win it, you ain't coming first, second, third, fourth, fifth. You get a trophy simply because you were there. Well, guess what? That's not how it works in the business world. In the business world, it is kill or be killed. And it is what it is, but it ain't pretty. And you have to compete. You have to fight to be the best. You have to fight to be the better person next to you. And your numbers will show that based off of your work.
Good job.
I think it was just being hungry, right? Just being hungry, you're gonna find a way, right? And you're gonna find a way. And for me, it was, like, first there's safety, right? Let me make sure I have the skills that's gonna take care of me no matter what happens, right? So that was part of it. And then you wanna be successful. You don't know what that means, but it means that you had to make a lot of money. If you make a lot of money, then everything else will take care of itself. And so when people say work smart, not hard, I believe that you got to do both. I don't believe that I think all the people that are grinding, like killing it, they're doing both. They're working really, really hard, and they're working smart.
Speaking of work, he talked about working smarter and working harder. I always just used to talk about working smarter. I thought I was just working smarter, but you also have to put in the grind every day. You got to work hard every day and get creative in the ways that you work. So he would get contracts with company, and then he would subcontract out to other individuals, train them and teach them how to do what the company hired him to do. And then he would go out and he would just take the passive, and he would take the his money off top, pay the person, and then build some more. So not trying to do everything yourself, trusting other people with it. But he also had the skills to know how to do it, to teach other people. That was really important to me.
Because what happens is the entrepreneurial journey, you're gonna get tired at some point of that. And just as an entrepreneur, a lot of times you're moving around. You're like, I like this, I can, and entrepreneurs they're talented people, so they can do a lot of different things, right? And one of the problems with entrepreneurs, I know you guys are, you deal with so many different entrepreneurs. They'll put their hands in so many different things, and it's hard to really maximize a particular opportunity if you're doing that.
And the last but not least gem that I took from this episode was, and I think I took it so personal because I tend to do this, but it's, as an entrepreneur, don't spread yourself out too thin. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to give your all to one thing so that you can maximize opportunity from that. And he said that if you have yourself spread out too thin, you got your eggs, too many baskets, you got your hand in too many pots, you'll miss out on opportunities because you'll miss something small, or you're not focused, or you're not as involved in this, and you can't, a company wants to know something. You can't answer the question because you've been here, there. And it's pretty much, you can't give 100% to 5 different things. You can give 10% to 10 different things, but you can't give 100% to 5 different things, 10 different things at one time. So that was really important to me because that was one of the first lessons that I faced, or that I had an issue with within my entrepreneurial journey, especially during COVID. I was trying to do too many hustles. I had so many side hustles. We were trying to do everything, but I wasn't building, I wasn't growing, I wasn't learning within my main side hustle, which was real estate. I wasn't able to gain all the necessary knowledge, all the necessary information, and see all different sides of it because I was doing too many things. And that main side hustle was real estate. I was spread too thin, doing too many things, doing too many side hustles, and I couldn't learn as much as I needed to learn or do as much of the due diligence that I needed to do, and end up, hitting my head on the wall a couple times through learned lessons because I was spread too thin. And in his situation, he potentially missed out on the best opportunity to sell his business because he was invested into too many businesses. So listen, I'm not gonna give you the whole episode. I really want y'all to go see it. I really want y'all to watch it. Let me know what y'all think, what y'all took away from it, your most important keys, and get back to me. I really like this, that I can talk about something to you guys go check it out, and then we can all really discuss about it in the comments together and just build and grow together as we go down this journey together of entrepreneurship, of ownership, of wealth creation, and the path to financial freedom, financial literacy, and financial independence. So if you enjoyed this video, again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you're thinking, tap back in. I'm gonna really try to incorporate this in between my longer videos that I drop on every other Sunday, just to be more interactive and get content to y'all, because y'all got to know this information. All right, it ain't gonna just fall in your lap. I'm gonna point you into the direction. I'm gonna show you where the water is, but I ain't gonna make you drink. All right, holla at y'all when I smile at y'all.